people. Well, we got 3 starting off. That's, four. It's a good start. Alright, so tonight, what I was planning on talking about was people want to know, what tools should I have in my race box or on my workbench at home, things like that. So I compiled a pile of stuff that I have on my workbench and stuff that you probably want to bring in your pit box. I also want to talk about the Thunder Slot Mustang. We've all talked about it and we know how fast it is, but as part of one of my tools, I'm going to attempt to a little adjustment because the pinion gear rubs the tire and doesn't allow it to roll free. So I'm going to fix that tonight. At least that's the plan. And show you how I don't always do, but how I make a tune on the Carrera 132 cars. I'm pretty sure I've posted a video about that in the past, but I will go ahead and show you guys again how I do it and why we've done it. Is it worth the effort? Only you'll know that. So let's get to it. So the first tools that you need are a set of screwdrivers, obviously, flathead and Phillips. I would suggest getting a set that has, 5 to 6 of each in different sizes. Most of us have those already. And other is all these different Allen wrenches. So since, like everything else, they can't all get together and play nice, we need all these different size Allen wrenches to work on all these different brands. So the ones that I prefer, and you can pick and choose what you like, but for the slot.it, this is the little, see if you can see it on my shirt maybe. That's the one that comes typically on the base of all the slot.it cars. Everybody knows it strips out, then you gotta take your little grinder, cut off the strip part and start over, and before you know it, you're down to about that much of a wrench left. So slot.it offers this torque wrench, and when you tighten it down, you can hear it click rather than strip out your screw. If you've had a slot.it, you know exactly what I mean by stripping out the screw. These last quite a while. I have had one round on me, but like I said, it does last a couple years at least, and if you are gentle with it, it probably lasts a lot longer. Then this is the one from NSR. This is what I prefer to use. It's got a hardened tip on it, and mine is actually silver, and you can change different tips in the end of this. So this has the one for the slot.it cars. This one, I couldn't tell you what it's for because it's really big, but it came with some tools that I bought when I got a collection in, and I figured I might as well keep it because you never know when you're gonna need it. Then this one would fit like NSR, I think Revo slot also. The slot.it one from NSR, you could buy the tip. I have gotten a little overzealous and snapped my tip. You never want to snap your tip. But you can buy replacements and you don't have to buy like the whole thing. And I think the whole thing's only like $12 and this is maybe, I don't know, 3, 4 tops. So I have had to do that one time, but I think, to be honest, it was probably my fault to begin with. And then lastly, I don't know if this has a size written on it or not. If it does, I can't see it. But Thunder slot goes with this little 6-star looking bit. Let's see. Nope, 5. So this one works perfectly to get the NSR or the Thunder slot screws in and out. I'll probably end up trying to replace mine with a Phillips type head of some sort, just so I don't have to carry so many tools around. It's kind of irritating for me, as a lot of you know. I don't like when everybody has to do their own thing. Let's just kind of make it uniform, make it easy for everybody, especially the beginners, but they don't do that. So moving on. Go to Harbor Freight. Get this guy. It was given to me by a good friend of mine for a birthday when I was first getting started. And I thought to myself, what in the hell am I going to use this for? 1, I don't even know how to use it. And 2, what am I going to need it for? Well, as I learned what I was doing and being taught from him on other projects and things, I learned what to do with this caliper. So, if I've got anything close by, not really, but say like this wheel insert, I wanted to know what size it was. Did it fit a 17? Did it fit a 15? And you can turn your little thing on. I'm going against the grain here. I go in millimeters. So you put it down and you're like, okay, there's the size. That's for a 15-inch, or not 15-inch, but a 15 wheel. So now I know what wheel it'll fit in. What I mainly use these for is for the tire truing. If you saw our video a couple weeks ago when we had the tire truer out, I do mine one at a time just because it's a lot of wear and tear on the motor, and it's just as easy to do the one, come back and make sure that they're both identical. When you take it off, again, turn it on, zero it out, and you can measure, you know, say it's whatever, 17 and 34. And then when you start truing the other side, you go until it's 17 and 34. So this is a really good tool. A lot more uses than that. You can use a little end in case you've not used one. So you can measure how deep it is, and it'll tell you on the screen. They're not very expensive. I highly recommend getting one of those. Little hobby torch. When you're dealing with Carrera, mainly the Carrera digital stuff, at least for me, I use this for my shrink tape. So I'll solder the wires, slide the heat tape over, give it a little torchy torch, shrink the wires, and button it up. These are refillable, so you can buy more butane, I believe is what's in here, lighter fluid. And there you go. When you burn it out, you can get more. And we have other miscellaneous guys. Emery boards can always be used for something. Mostly used for like taking edges off of tires, sanding out maybe the inside of a fender or quarter panel so you can make just a little bit more room so your tire fits and doesn't, touch the wall. You can use it for sanding the edges of your chassis so you get a little bit more body float. Daryl lives on these, so I'm sure he's got a million reasons to have these in your box, because he's always bringing me more and more and more. And I've used them, so I'm appreciative of that. Then you have forceps or tweezers or whatever. It's always good to get lint or hold things or something that you don't want to burn your fingertips, so you just hook it up with this guy. Multiple sizes. Toothpicks. Seems like a weird thing, but it's easier to put just a dab of super glue on the end of your toothpick, put it on whatever piece you're wanting to glue together, rather than it running all over your car or dripping or making a big old mess. Q-tips just aren't for ears anymore. My main use for Q-tips is sometimes cleaning tires, but mostly I use the Q-tips when I'm decaling a car. Dip it in the water, put a spot on the paint wherever I'm putting that decal. It makes it slide easier when I get it where I want it. Just take my paper towel, thumb dry it, and if I moved it doing the thumb dry, you still have a little bit of play to move it where it belongs. Back on this toothpick, if you get a two-way epoxy, I don't know what brand I have, but it's, they're both cleared. Use toothpick, mix it on up, and then you can also use it to apply. What else do we have here? This guy, this is from X-Acto, but I'm sure there's plenty around. Basically just has the alligator clips. So say you want to solder, I had a motor here. So like this NSR motor that I'm going to be putting in a car tomorrow, you can hold the motor with this guy, take your soldering iron, that way it's like having a third hand, and they are pretty versatile. You can move it around, up and down. I've got magnets stuck to the side in case I'm working with screws like this one. Got a grub screw on there already. I mean, you can probably find the same thing at Harbor Freight, but the one I've seen at Harbor Freight has like a magnifying glass on it, which I also have. But for me, I find it tricky looking through the magnifying glass and then trying to get everything orientated. So I just put these on instead. Dremel. No workshop is complete without a Dremel. I highly recommend this one, the rechargeable battery one. It's never failed me. It's got a bunch of different speeds. You just crank this baby on. It starts at this pace. It's got a flashlight, and you can wind this sucker up. Bring it back down, brother. There we go. So yeah, it can get going pretty wild. I'm not crazy about putting it on the top speed because it's pretty fast. And then you got the cutting wheels. Perfect for cutting axle blanks or drill blanks to the right size that you want. Then you can either, this was your axle, you could either just kind of roll it on this as it's spinning and take off any burr. You could also use this thing too, but I typically use this one if I'm trimming plastic. Just seems to go a lot faster. But like with any rotary tool, you gotta be careful because before you know it, you've taken off too much and now you're in trouble. So use caution, but this Dremel Micro, I don't see a part number or anything on it, but if it's like anything else nowadays, something has changed and you probably won't be able to find this exact one, who knows. but it is an awesome tool. I suggest. Oh. Come on, that's a German thing to say. Always wear safety glasses. I highly recommend safety glasses, especially if you're rod at the land speed race. Remember that? That's true. There is a butane soldering iron. Next tool you gotta have, a good gear press. I know one of you watching prefers the Ninko one. While it is cheap, it is cheap. So you're on borrowed time from the first time you put a gear on it. This one's from Slot.it. Now I believe this housing is plastic and it works just as good as this one, but I like this one because it's all metal and you can get back in there. So if this had a gear on it, you would slide it into this black piece and then let me take it out so you can see. This little nub there will help you push the motor shaft through so the gear comes off. Then when you want to put a gear back on, you just find the right hole for the size gear you have. Put this back in and slide it back up. Put your motor in and put your gear on. The only thing that I don't like about this gear press, and it's probably just because I'm lazy, is when you press on a gear or take a gear off, you have to spin this thing forever to get it back down. And then when you want to store your stuff after you put the gear on, you got to roll it back out. Then you put this guy back in. I can hear Seb now. Oh my God. But then you put it in, you screw this down just to make it tight so nothing moves, and you put it away. What do we got here? Haha, yep. Too many moving parts on that one. Yeah, but it's a good one. The Slot.it one is the king. If that's what you're saying, I believe you. That could have been your problem, Larry. You were using a hammer and not a press. 9-volt battery. Bam. Always got to have one of these. You get somebody sends you a car, or you want to make sure that you have the wheel spinning in the right direction, which, let's face it, it's like a USB cable. You plug it in, doesn't work, flip it over, there it goes. That's how it is when you wire up a car. So this allows you just to bench test a car, make sure, one, that it works. When I buy HO cars like this one, just put it on here, make sure it works. It also works on, might not work that one because the brushes are on here. So you just make sure that it's working for you. So keep a 9-volt battery in your arsenal. Then we just got these this past Saturday at a race at a friend's house. There's a guy making these. This end is if you're racing on wood tracks to set your guide depth. This one is your typical plastic. They're made out of Corian. They're $9.99. We have a couple in stock because that's all he had. He didn't know that if I was going to want them or not, so I'll have to get more from him. But it's a very simple design and it gets the job done. So, and he did a nice job. He beveled all the edges and It's really clean looking. It's got a little bit of weight. Looks good. So if you need those, let me know. I can hook you up. A scale. You want a scale that can weigh in grams, kilograms. Some of you probably have one. Larry's got one. Just kidding. So the way that works is this one will measure the weight of the car and the weight of the strength of the magnets. So showing you the strength of the magnets is going to be a little difficult because I don't think I have a car that's probably not wide enough to span that. Oh, sure it is. Alright, let's see what we get. This little cutie, I got that down in a collection. And for some reason I thought I should keep it. So, alright, here we go. So let's see if it works on this little Carrera Go car. So if you put that on there, it says 165. So this should be measuring the strength of the magnet. So 169. And then if you turn it on its side, the car itself, as such, is only 30. So, fancy looks. What? Oh, yeah, this one. There's a guy out west that was supposed to supply these, and I don't know what in the world happened to him, but he sent me this demo model. I loved it. I tried to order a bunch of them, and the guy just gone. So I have no idea if any more of these were made or just a few that he had. But yeah, this thing is killer. I love it. So yeah, it can measure your magnetic downforce, the weight of the car. Basically, when I turn it on, I zero it out and then go for it. This is the Magnet Marshal is essentially the same thing. I'm not really sure who still carries those. Whenever I get them in collections like Tire Chewers, they're gone within a couple hours of hitting the page, if they last that long. Yeah, thanks. I am lazy. Corian, yep, those are nice ones. Yeah, I agree, I wish we could get more of those. It's a really nice product. Alright, we're getting through this. You ready, Seb? You're gonna like this one. If you don't, you're lying. Here we have the NSR chassis flattener. Everybody's bought a car and it looks a little wonky. You're like, well, how in the heck am I gonna get this chassis flat because it's costing me victories? So NSR has come out with this chassis flattener. The base is 3D printed. Looks good, nice and clean. It has an auto setting and a manual setting. Alright, everybody put down your beer. Pay attention. Don't watch TV right now. Listen to what I'm saying. Use auto. Okay? Use auto. Because the auto will turn it off. I believe it's dang, I didn't bring the box. I believe it's like maybe 30 minutes, and then they suggest you it'll shut off, and then they suggest that you don't touch it for 24 hours so it can cool, stay in the new flat chassis position before you try to use it. This is the where you plug the power supply into. And they supply you with a bunch of fly looking round magnets to place around. I don't have a chassis out here anymore, but you just put the chassis on here and all the flat spots. Obviously, if you've got one that slopes up, you're not going to put a magnet on the slope, but put it on the flat areas, plug it in, put it on auto, and watch the magic. Having some technical difficulty. Yeah, but nobody wants to cook. Come on, dude. Why would you cook when you could use this? Seriously. You need to move back. It's more fun giving you a hard time to your face than over the internet. Alright. We're winding down on the tools you need. Hang in there, Seb, because we're going to be talking about one of your inventions, tunes, something. Nobody's spending $300. It might be $100. I think it's right around $100. You got it. Just buy it. And we got our glues. Okay, everybody has super glued a headlight on only to regret it because it went from this clear to that, all foggy and fingerprints and you name it. And then your wife wants to know, assuming we have wives, we are adult men, if you will, playing with toys, so it's kind of a toss-up. But anyhow, when they hear you scream because you just messed up your car using super glue, I recommend using this. It's canopy glue. It's the stuff that you glue like airplane canopies, the clear pieces. It's good for pretty much any clear plastics for like model kits, things like that. It dries clear, doesn't fog up. So I recommend using this. Oh boy. Yeah, well, you probably cooked it too long, D. Well, as far as what cars convert easily, slot.it is starting to make chassis where you can chip them relatively easy. A lot of companies, I know Revo Slot, Thunder Slot is now, slot.it, Pioneer and Scalectric. If you use the Carson chip, I mean it'll take you longer to open the package than it will to chip it. But for the slot.it, Thunder Slot, and what was the other one? Either way, they have Revo Slot. They have the hole already in place, which for me, finding the right place to mount the hole for the sensor was probably the toughest part of the whole job. So that's what I would go with. So that's this. I don't think I would touch on this. This is Instacure. So when you super glue something, if I super glue like a bead around a tire so it can run, I'll spray it with this just so it cures like that. Trying to think what else. Anytime you super glue, I spray this on. It dries, it gets hard, and you can just wipe it off. It's no big deal. It's way better than waiting 10 seconds. I mean, seriously, who has 10 seconds to waste? We want it now, right? Right. Food juice. goes, yeah, it does smell good. Voodoo juice, you can put that on your brushes, helps with a little contact. You can also put it on the calm of your motor, gives it a little extra boost and cleans it. If you have a True Speed, probably others, but I mainly use it on my True Speed controller. I'll clean it with a Q-tip with a little alcohol. Clean the wiper, and then put a drop of this. Pull the trigger, lube her up, and she's good. So if you can, we can get that. We don't stock it all the time, but it's easy enough to get. That's right, dude. All those memories, and you could be here living it, starting over. All right. Looks like we've got 3 or 4 more. Hot glue. Look at that. This is what I use to hold in lead. I know it comes in, lead has adhesive backing. Some plastics I feel don't receive the sticky lead. I don't want to say it repels it, but it just doesn't stick very well. So for me, I'll just slap a couple dots of this on it, hold it in place. You can also use this to hold your bearings into the chassis so they don't spin if the hole for the bearing is too big. You just put a drop on there. So the glue gun, it's duct tape for slot cars. All right. How you doing? The next couple are, or the last, one of the last ones is for painting. Tamaya, if you're a painter, buy this. Okay? Buy these. I think they come, it's been so long, but I think you can buy them in a kit. So this one, man, I'm bad here. Oh, here you go. So this, you squeeze this together. I hope I don't break this. And it holds your body. So you can spray, spin it, spray, spin it, spray. It's pretty killer, isn't it? It's worth it. Then you have these, so you can paint small parts. Like if you want to paint this guy, you just clip her on there. And you can spray, spin it around, spray this side, spray the back. It's all good. And then I recommend getting little dowel rods with alligator clips on the end. Makes it nice. You can, you know, whatever. I want to spray this toothpick, but I don't want to get my hands all painted where you gotta take cleaner and scrape it off your fingernail. So now you can just spray it here and you don't look like you just painted your fingernails. A couple different sizes. And what's nice is they also stick in there. So you can, if you need something up in the air, you can put it on there. Good stuff. Highly recommend Tamiya, Tamiya, whatever you want to call it. Paint stands. Worth every penny. Okay, now what I said earlier about a tune. Have you guys said anything here? Sounds like it's just me, Seb, and Larry. What's going on? Bliss. What oil, grease, melt Carrera tires? I don't know of anything that you put on the tires, so to speak, that melt it. I know like Fly back in the day, they had a problem with the oil oozing out of the tire, and then they would flat spot. Carrera is now going through the same scenario, and hopefully they have that under control, because nobody, for that matter, is stocking or offering tires to us, at least not like they used to. So to get factory replacements is getting harder and harder. And the rears aren't that big a deal because there's a number of aftermarket companies and making rears. But for the fronts, I mean, especially in Carrera, because they have to make everything perfect, that, you know, there's not going to be a lot of crossover, so that part kind of stinks. For slot.it, NSR, Thunder slot, things like those, cars like those, the super tires 1400 to 1403 RZ will typically work on your fronts. So, but when you have something like a Skolectric or Carrera or whatever, you know. What is a tech box? That is, wait, where did it say? Yeah, I had one last Monday, but it's already gone. Basically, the tech slot box allows you to run digital and analog separately, but without taking all your lane changers and any digital components out of your track, replacing it with analog components, and then running analog cars. So the tech slot box allows you to do both. I do know that he's running out of inventory, and I believe when he's out of the inventory to make them, I believe he's done. So if you want one, you better get on it, because the only other one that I know of that comes ready to go is that Omnibox, and somebody was saying it was like $800 to $1,000. So 200, 250, whatever he charges is a drop in the hat. I'm sure the Omnibox is nice. I've never seen one. I've never talked to the guy that makes them. But, you know, it is an option. Our tracks are not wired with any of those. Ours looks like spaghetti under the table, but it works. So, alright. So, this bald guy with sunglasses, he came up with this, I assume he did. Who knows, maybe he read it on the internet and just took credit for it, I don't know. But he was trying to come up with a way to reduce drag, I think is the right word for it. So he thought, well, why don't we, on an inline, the motor gear goes in that slot. Well, if that motor shaft is in there, it's probably causing a little bit of friction, drag, whatever. I'm not a scientist. So he thought, well, why don't we cut that off and move the gear to where we have the gear lash where we want it. And then if this axle wasn't glued in, I would take it out for you. And then we made homemade bushings. So we took the extra thick super glue, put it on the axle right up against the wheel hub, and then we would take an X-Acto knife. Oh my gosh, look at all these tools I forgot that I had down here. Boy, you guys are not complete with your tools. But anyhow, we put the axle in the tire chewer, and then you could take an X-Acto knife and kind of cut into it, and you could make custom shims for your axles. So this little thingamabob, I would take the axle out and I would set this in the wheel so it wouldn't damage the plastic. It's just something I made. Washer with a brass bearing in it. And then I would put, let's see how if I can show this. You would put that on there, wind this guy out. This is mainly for guys that have nothing better to do than tinker. So you would set it in the axle like that, and then tighten this dude down. Obviously the axle would not be in the car, but I've already got everything glued in place the way I want it. Yeah, I wonder who that guy is. So anyhow, you would twist this and it will pull the gear to where you want it. So just a little tweaker. I don't know that I really noticed a lot of difference, but in our group at the time anyway, there, you know, it's like real racing. You're looking for every edge you can get to win, because the guys back in the day that were big into our 124 group, they were really good racers. So we miss those days, but you know, somebody had to move on to bigger and better things and left us all by ourselves. So next. Just kidding, relax. I would have done the same thing. I'm just gonna go through these real quick. It's always nice to have a hammer. Yeah, come on, rod. This thing's killing me. Little pair of needle nose. Couple cutters, different sizes help. Gotta have a soldering iron. That's like tool number 3, with some of a, you know, the solder paste to help clean it up, so it makes it easier to solder to. And some files, various flat side, rounded, so you can clean out holes, flashing, whatnot. Okay. That's all the tools. There's plenty more, but those are the ones that you're going to probably use the most. I want to go over this car here. Look at this baby. Look at that sponsor. That guy's cool. And then you got these guys. Anybody that has a Ford, needs Ford parts, greensalescompany.com. We try to carry parts from 1950s to the current. Mostly parts that, you know, you're just trying to keep your car on the road. If you're doing like Concourse or, you know, 69 Mustang, all that stuff's been pretty well picked over. So the chances of us having it are pretty slim. But, you know, for daily drivers, we could be your guy. So let's see, this won't take about a second. This was an 8.1 car. I really hate taking this apart because now it's going to be slower than Daryl's and that'll kill me. Oops. Alright, so here's the chassis of the Thunder slot. And like I said about the hole for the sensor, bang, right here. And if you use the Slot Technic chip, you can essentially, you know, put the chip up here, and since it's on a wire, drop it down, put it in the hole, a little bit of hot glue or shoe goo, something to hold it in place, and you're ready to rock. This was my crude attempt at setting this car up in a hurry, and in doing so, it totally kicks butt. But for those wondering, I put a bar of lead there and a bar of lead here. Back the screws out about 2 turns or so. Like it said, breaking the rules. Well, he needs to market his power booster. Yeah. I don't even know what you're doing nowadays, Rod. I think someone said you moved to like Pennsylvania or something. Okay, gotta go. Oh, see you later, man. So you wanna... Yeah, I would love to do another land speed race, but it's a lot of work. I'd have to be guaranteed that we were gonna have X amount of people. But anyhow, the reason I took this apart is this little pinion gear here rubs the tire. And you can see there's plenty of room to push that gear on. So that's what I'm gonna do before this coming Thursday. Put that gear on. I could probably get away with just turning this edge like I should do anyhow on the tire, and it would do the same thing. But if I'm in a pinch and I don't have the ability to round the tire, then it's just gonna rub again, and it's just easier to fix it right the first time. So that's what I'm gonna do. The last 3 short things that I'm gonna share with you are 2 cars that I got out of a collection, and 1 car that, when I was showing you different cars that have come from collections or just rare pieces or whatever. So back in the early 2000s, when cars were $40 and anything over $40 was just like insane to pay for, there was a guy here in Ohio, I think probably Dayton-ish, middle of the state. He came up with this design. So it's a metal chassis. It's got your 124 guide. He had different places where you could put magnets. Some back here, a couple spots here. Independent fronts. There's almost 0 play, but it spins nice. And let's see, take this baby apart, maybe. If only I had a tool for that. Let's see if this will get me. Maybe not. Oh, here we go. Come on, bro. Well, he's not playing nice, is he? Why won't that guy come out of there? There we go. So, what his design was, and these cars were, I think he was trying to sell them for $65, where nowadays it'd be like a steal for some cars. It's just a regular, like saying Ford F-150, like NASCAR truck. So he had the motor up front here, and he had a pulley, and this dried out rubber band. But what you could do is it had two different size pulleys. It's all one piece, and you could change it to three different. I don't know if you can see that. Three different ratios if you went on the inside, the middle, and the last one on the end, and then it would just wrap around here. The car was super quiet, of course, because there was no, I mean, really just the little bit of whine from the motor is all you heard. They were called Fleet Wing, right there. You might find some out and about, but chances are pretty slim. But yeah, it was a great idea. I think it was well ahead of its time. Trying to sell a car for $65 when you could get a slot.it for, say, $45, $49, and it looked a lot better and probably ran better too, let's be honest. But I think if this had come out 10 years later, he probably would have had a better chance at surviving. But either way, it's just a nice piece to have of, you know, I don't want to say slot car history because not many people know about it. But, you know, he went for it, made a nice design, and, you know, unfortunately it didn't work out for him, but we got one example left, so there you have it. The last two are two cars I took in on trade, and they're pretty cool. This one, Roadkill Garage. Looks pretty rough, but it looks like the car. It's an H&R chassis. I got to do a little bit of work to it because the tire rubs the fender, so I'm going to pop that off. I'd say this week, but let's be honest, it'll probably be next week or the week after before I get to it. But I'm probably going to have to sand out some of this fender or quarter panel so the tire doesn't rub. The fronts, they spin free, so we don't have to worry about that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these wheels on it. I don't watch Roadkill Garage, so yeah, that would be good. Get that power booster. We could use it, I know. But put some of these like Krager looking wheels on it. I think would look better in my opinion than the black. I'm going to repeat myself again, so James, if you're listening, I do not like black wheels because you can't even see them, and it's like, you know, that's a lot of black wheels, black tires. Just doesn't do it for me. There's the fronts. So we got a whole set. And the last one before I call it a night, look at that sucker. Is that not the coolest thing ever? I can't hear you. I think you said yes. I think that's what I heard. So, again, H&R chassis. Front wheels probably need to be loosened up a little bit. The rears are fine. But with this one, you gotta manipulate the braids to get them to run, and then when you do get it to run, it only runs for a second. I think I need to pull these brushes out, drop the lead wires in, and just reset them. But this thing is cool. He did an awesome job on the model. The license plate says smooth. But look at that. Wait, what's that? That counts custom-ish hood, which I'm normally not a fan of, but on this, it looks pretty wicked. So, shout out to Brian for doing good work there. So that's it, guys. Hopefully some of you learned one or two things besides, you know, I'm a goofball. Oh, I almost forgot. Last bit of news is Super Tires is on their way to making tires for the Revo slot, the little cars like the Alpha, the 2002, the Escort, and let me see my email. They're also, get ready, they're also working on silicones to go on the digital 124 Lola T70. Woo woo. They were actually in the process of starting that when Nick passed away, and now that his daughter has everything back in order and ready to go, she's got that project going. So hopefully that will turn out well for her and you guys, because everybody wants tires for that car and the little Revos. Another Super Tire bit of news is they're trying to update their tire fitment table, whatever you want to call it, so you guys can find what tires fit your car a little better. Make it a little easier for you to find them. So hopefully over the summer, so hopefully by fall, you know, I'm assuming she works a regular full-time job and does this. Not 100% sure. After saying it, I kind of feel like maybe she told me that Super Tires is all she's doing now, but regardless, she wants to get the tire locator on the site and working for everybody. They're also doing, I think they're going to start doing merchandise, maybe hats, shirts, posters, and banners, things similar to that. They also are going to have a tab. Her nephew races sprint cars, so if anybody wants to shoot them a few bucks to help their nephew do some racing, and they'll post those races on their YouTube channel for this particular nephew's races. I don't think it's going to be on Super Tires, although they may post a link. Who knows? So yeah, that's the news from Super Tire. And Wednesday, they made a brand new mold for the Carrera D124, the tires that fit the C7R Corvette, C8 Corvette. They'll fit on the 911s, the Mercedes with a little bit of tweaking on the wheels, DTM cars, Audi R8. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I think they'll fit the new BMW, what were they, M4s, M6s. So we'll see. They're going to try to figure out how to maneuver the new design of the Carrera wheel. Again, I get why they did it, but I wish they hadn't. But I'm not paying the bills, so. But yeah, so Wednesday, hopefully, when I get my restock of Super Tires, that a couple pairs of the new mold will be in there. I'm sure it will be. I was working with Nick from Super Tires again before he passed, and Seb, who was on here tonight, um, trying to get away from, it's got a little bit, the radius is probably more than it really needs to be, but he was kind of at the mercy of the machine shop that was doing it for him. And I think Pamela, who is his daughter, that's taken over. I hope I'll find out Wednesday that they were able to make a tire with a proper edge on it and radius to where, one, it performs well, that's most important, and two, that it fits the roll, it looks good. Fast first, look good second. But yeah, we'll find out Wednesday. I'm excited. I've been bugging her for it. And so she's got it all situated. So I'm gonna try to get her on. I get a lot of people wanting the GTY wheels for Carrera. I'd like to see the classic Mini get some silicone tires, but I really don't know how many people, is it worth a $400, $500, $600 mold, whatever it is, for the classic Mini. I don't know how many people actually run it. We don't sell a lot of them, and is it because there's no tires, or is it just not that popular? I don't know. I have one, and I think it's a blast. But if you have a tire that you think they should make that they don't, that would satisfy a car that has, like, for instance, the slot.it 962, 956, that 15 by 10, 15 by 8 wheel, that it'll fit a ton of cars, or a lot of cars. It doesn't be a ton, but drop it in the comments, and we can get it on the list. If she can get the first 3 under her belt, and it's exactly what she wants, and hopefully what we as a community would want, not just what I want, but I want good stuff for you guys, and so does she. So hopefully yeah, I agree, Daryl. She could probably go back and look at her molds that have cornered edges and maybe revamp those or get new ones. Yeah, maybe I'll suggest that to her too. Get those molds that still have the square edge and redo them. That would be a good idea. Proper Legend tire would be good too. There's plenty of those out there with people using them. I don't know of any new cars coming up anytime soon, but I think that's all I got for you guys. Made it an hour and 5 minutes, and I was kind of worried I wouldn't have anything to talk about tonight, so I guess I rambled my way through. Hard tires to find are for the hot rod. Well, the fronts for sure. I actually have silicone tires for the fat fendered hot rods from Carrera. Excuse me, from the 124s. Fronts. Again, the problem with those, it's the same as like the 906. when they were available and they were making them, that would have been the time to make the tire. But now it's, most of the cars are either, my guess is, are either out of commission or people are just collecting them and not racing them. So yeah, the front tires are always a problem, if you ask me. Again, it would make it, I know it may not be that easy, but it would be nice if manufacturers could come up with a couple common front wheels or front tires. Then they could supply them a little easier, but they don't. Hey Cliff, what about those Hot Wheels? I'm hoping I got someone coming up in the next 2 weeks. No, you're fine. I'm just giving you a hard time. He's got a couple hundred Hot Wheels, so hopefully I can work out a deal with him and it's something that's going to make us both happy. I also have a guy that's got 1,800 slot cars from the late 90s to current, and we're in the process of trying to figure out the logistics of that. He's got, I don't think he has any like NSR or Thunder slot, but I'd say majority sounded like it was Electric Carrera flies from the beginning. I think he's got some slot.its in there. No NASCAR, like from Monogram or Carrera or Electric, but 1,800 cars is a lot to eat at one sitting. But if the pictures that he sends are good enough, then we're just going to find a way to do it, right? So that would be cool to have. I got another small collection, maybe 200-300 cars. I'm still waiting on him to send me pictures. Yeah, I don't know of any hot rods coming anytime soon. Are you looking for the one? You're looking for 124 hot rods, correct, Cliff? Maybe shoot me an email. Okay. I might have, the only one that I can think of that I have is, there's a black one, but I can't remember if it's the green. I think it's the green one. It's black with green flames, and the standard black and blue. What's up, Marty? You just about missed us. I think I said 15 minutes ago I was getting ready to get off this thing, and here we are. Yeah, these are the hot rods that I'm talking about. Both are used. You know, I don't mind doing horse trading, so let's get those Hot Wheels going and maybe we can work something out. So yeah, I really don't have much else to talk about. Marty, you guys are coming up Thursday, aren't you? Actually, Cliff, I forget, what part of the country are you in? Oh, sorry, Marty. I didn't know John was listening. My bad. Now he knows. Yeah, that'd be good. Oh, yeah, because I forgot Dusty wants that text slot box. So, alright. I have nothing more to talk about. And, yeah, that's it. Sorry, Marty. You missed all the good stuff. No, I'm just kidding. You already have it all. I've seen it. You're in good shape. We're just talking about, this is the main thing I want to do is the fixing this gear. Press it on a little further so it doesn't rub this tire. That way, hopefully I can really throw down on Daryl and Josh, Dayton Josh. I gave him the business on Saturday. It was running fast, but his Mustang, I think the track wasn't really suited for his Mustang, so. But he was the only, I know there's a proper definition of a sedan, but he was the only like car when everybody else was. I guess I don't have him up here. Everyone else was running like, you know, NSR stuff and slot.it Matras and Alphas and 312s and he's out running this thing. So, but it was good. He did a good job. Yeah, he did finish. I think he was 5th, if I'm not mistaken, because I think I finished 4th, and he was, I think, right behind me. I was just happy to beat Jamie by a foot in the Group C class. That was pretty fun. Beating home track guy. But it was a good time. We had a good crowd. Had I think we had 11 racers. We got to see, I call him Old Man Dan. He's a local guy from way back and used to race with, well, I didn't start racing until later just because I didn't want to put up with all the crying, but yeah, he was in, like, if we had a founding group here in Cincinnati, he was definitely in it, so. Or maybe even the founding member, for all I know. I don't recall. But, alright guys, well, I'm going to head back upstairs, get out of my dungeon here, and, oh boy, there's Mr. Second Place. Speak of the devil. Come on, this is the 4th time I tried to get out, now Jamie shows up. Jamie said he's supposed to come and race. We'll see. I think next Thursday. And we have an old guy, old racer, not an old guy, coming Thursday. Used to race with us, moved down to the Carolinas, and he's going to be up here visiting maybe his daughter, or I thought she moved down there, but maybe not. So he's going to come up here, race with us. Looking forward to it. Can't wait. It's been a couple years since I've seen him, so yeah, can't wait. It's going to be a good night. We've got 2 more weeks left in our race season, and then it's time to go outside for a little bit and enjoy some weather. So we will see you. Yep, Kevin's coming, Daryl. You got that right. So, alright, I will chat with you guys later. Thanks for tuning in, and I like seeing some comments. Gives me a little bit of a break of trying to think about what I want to talk about. So thank you, and we'll see you guys next Monday.